Pirates plunder. Love the alliteration, Tyler Zulli. Good morning. Hello. Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY, as always presented by BetParx. We're live on a Monday morning, and oh, what a Monday morning it is. Monday. Good morning, and shout out to everybody that is watching live on YouTube. All of our morning people, including Provolone John. Not a good weekend in the burb. So I'll be curious, and we'll talk to Tyler about it in a second. As a Phillies fan, and I actually was out and about a bunch of places this weekend, and I met somebody that watches the show every day. Actually, John as well. So, John, good morning. If you're out there watching, I'm sure you are live. And he said, you know what? Your show's almost like a Phillies podcast because since the Phillies have started, you're pretty much talking, I don't know, like 60, 75% of the Phillies. Well, listen, when you're in the summer and the Eagles are done until training camp and the Sixers are a train wreck and the Flyers didn't make the playoffs and didn't get a top 8, like, you know, you talk about what's there to talk about, but also being such a big Phillies fan. Like today, what does it feel like today? Is there anger? Is there resignation? Is there, I don't want to say apathy, but I see a lot of people that are quick to jump on the, look what happened the last 2 years. Why should we expect anything different? Like this team is flawed. I remember at the end of last year, I came out with a video, and it's how I felt at the time. It's kind of how I feel as well. But I had said that the Phillies window for winning was closing quickly. And it just like, it felt like and this was like saying that people jump all over you and, oh, you hater, you don't know what you're talking about. Really what I was saying was that their best chance to win a World Series had passed them. They had the opportunity in 2022. They had the Diamondbacks series where they needed to win one game at home to go to the freaking World Series. And then who knows what happens? I'm not waving the white towel and saying, well, we would have never beaten the Rangers. Who the hell knows? Because before they couldn't hit the ball in that Diamondback series, they were on a historical pace with home runs and Nick Castellanos and everything else. So I could have come here, if you're watching live this morning, and I'm almost like chuckling, if that makes sense, after getting swept by the Pirates. And I could go and I could come up with bad stat for this player, bad stat for that player. You know, they're 1-9 in the last 10 games. This outfielder sucks. That outfielder sucks. Bryson Stott blows. All the other stuff, right? Which is true right now. But I'm not going to do that because we are in the beginning of June and there are a lot of things wrong with this baseball team. I'm not going to give you, well, they play 162 and how they're playing right now doesn't matter. It matters how they're playing in the middle of September into October. And all of that is 100% true. But if I'm going to watch 162 games, I'm going to live in the moment for 162 games. And right now, this sucks. I mean, that was a really tough weekend of baseball. And honestly, going up against Skenes, and I'm a big Chris Sanchez fan yesterday, is anybody surprised they got swept after losing the first 2 games? No. I had a big party over my house. I got these knuckleheads watching French Open finals, which apparently was a great 5-set tiebreaker final. I walk in the living room, I go, where the hell are the Phillies? Get this off my TV. And they looked at me like I was, but it's the French Open. I'm like, great, it's the French Open. Go downstairs to the basement and watch that. But like, I didn't even care because I'm like, you know what? I'm paying attention. I got it on downstairs. Man, they're going through one of these stretches right now where they're tight. They just lost Bryce Harper, which seems like it's going to be longer than even the DL stint will allow. Guys are struggling. The team is a mess outside of the starting pitching, and now you're holding your breath with Jesus Luzardo. So, like right now, if you're a Phillies fan that follows them like the Eagles, then you're calling for guys to get fired. You're calling it sucks right now. So, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that things are okay. It's a long season. We have to hope they figure it out for September because they're not going to figure it out in September with this current roster. And Dave Dombrowski, you've taken a lot of swings and you've gotten a lot of hits. And you've taken some swings and you have some swing and a miss. And Max Kepler, the fact that he isn't doing anything, and he really hasn't done anything this year. That was kind of your big free agent signing as far as a new bat and how you were going to change this lineup up and get some more power, more pop, everything else. This is a stale baseball team right now, offensively. Stale. I've seen the term used frequently in the last few days. It's something that we've used previously to that. This looks like the teams that faltered in the playoffs. Bryson Stott, who I was bullish on the second half of last year because he struggled the first half of last year. Like, I'll be shocked if Bryson Stott doesn't turn this around. Well, he hasn't. And he's going backwards quick. Rojas, who's probably at best, low-level starting center fielder on a team that has an excellent offense. Well, they don't have an excellent offense. So when the offense sucks, Rojas is one of the players that gets affected by it. So Stott sucks. You put Alec Boehm over on first base. Listen, Alec Boehm could be at bat 700. I can't stand him. And I can't stand his game. Singles, doubles, when they don't matter. When it matters, ho, ho, ho. Frustrated with Boehm right now. I mean, Kyle Schwarber is the one guy, and we saw the comment up on the screen in a second. Kyle Schwarber is the one guy that you can count on consistently giving you good at-bats, consistently giving you production, period. And Nick Castellanos has been pretty good. Like, I have no issue with Nick Castellanos. But the rest of the team sucks. And you're lucky you have the starting pitching that you do. Because if you didn't, this team would be in trouble. So, Dave Dombrowski, brother, you're on the clock. You're an excellent GM. You're a Hall of Fame GM. There's a reason why you've had the success that you've had everywhere that you've went. There's also reasons why the Phillies are where they are right now. And a lot of that is the roster that you've constructed and created. Now, to be fair, a lot of times when you go into a season, you know that you're light at a certain position. You know that you're going to need help in the bullpen. You know that you're going to have to make some trade deadline moves. You know that going in. So you're hoping getting to the trade deadline, you're able to perform well enough to where you make that push. It's where we could be right now. They need bullpen. They need something different in the outfield. They don't need Brandon Marsh even being an option right now to go to. I'm sorry. Like, you need to change this up. When I say stale, Brandon Marsh is part of the stale. And he hasn't even, I don't even think, has he been that bad? I don't know. But Rojas, Kepler, Marsh, Weston Wilson, I'm not having it. And Rob Thompson talked about some lineup changes, and now Otto Kemp is up with Harper going on the IL. Hey, listen, and you have a full series. You have the Cubs starting tonight. You're at home. The weather's not going to be great. I think it's not supposed to rain in the second half of the afternoon. So they're probably going to play tonight from what I saw at the forecast. Let's get some bats in there. Let's get Kemp in there. Let's get Mundo Sosa in there for a start. You know what, Rob? These guys love you because you're a player's manager, right? And this team is flawed offensively, but they're underachieving right now. And they're in their own heads. It's your job. This is what you're supposed to be able to do, managing the clubhouse. That means you got to kick someone in the ass. You got to do it. Like, come on, man. Get these guys worried about their jobs. Get some bats in here from guys that want them. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. They'll win some games because they get good starting pitching and they hit a couple home runs, and then they go through these slumps where Schwarber's not hitting home runs and they're struggling to score runs. And they're going to lose. 1-9, man, that's a rough stretch, but anyway, this portion of the program brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration, GLATHairMM.com, 610-980-4000, 610-980-4000. So I sit here this morning, and this is a therapy session for Phillies fans. And I'm not quite the therapist because you got to be annoyed, pissed, disgusted. I don't know. These guys just seem so pathetic right now on offense. I'm not even mad. I don't know what I am. Tyler Zuli, good morning. How are you feeling this morning? PHLY Phillies, you got to do a live show. You got to do recaps after these dog bleep games. How are you?
Yeah, I put on the PHLY Phillies account yesterday, disastrous weekend. because it was a disastrous weekend. And you and I talked about it at the beginning of the week last week. And we went through the schedule and we're like, all right, you don't have to pick individual games, but series wins and losses. And we said 1 of 2 against Toronto, right? And you even correctly predicted that they were going to win game 1 and lose the second 2, which they did. But then you and I were like 2 of 3, easy. Pittsburgh, like Pittsburgh's playing a little bit better than the last time you saw them, but it's still Pittsburgh. And like, as long as you can get ahead in the first 2 games, you got a chance because game 3 you're facing Skenes. But like, I mean, it was despondent. 7 hits in the last 2 games. I was at a birthday party on Saturday, and my buddy and I, who are both, he's a diehard Phillies fan just like myself, we turned the game on, and it was the top of the second, and Andrew Heaney had gotten 7 outs on 10 pitches.
Yeah, it was so quick and easy.
I mean, it was, and that was kind of the feel of the weekend was just like lethargic, lifeless. I've used the word lifeless a couple times this year. This is the second time this season that I felt like they were lifeless. And the first time was the series that they got swept out against the Mets. And then right after that series, they ended up going on that torrid series victory stretch. So maybe it's a bounce back opportunity. But what felt different this time around was there was no response. At least in the first game against the Mets, Bryson Stott hit that 3-run home run and made it 5-4. It was not as close as 5-4 actually was, but at least there was a little bit of a response. There was no response this weekend. You lost consecutive games to one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball by scores of 2-1. You lost 3 straight games to one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball in 1-run games. You lost 5-4, 2-1, and 2-1 to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who we talked about 2 weeks ago as a organization that's going to end up losing Paul Skenes because they're absolutely inept at the ownership, level.
All right, so you ready? They've lost 9 of 10, Tyler. 6-2 they lost to the Brewers. 17-7. And I'm not looking at the offense with 7 runs in that game. There were garbage runs late.
Scored 5 in the 9th.
Yep. So that doesn't count for 7 runs. 5-2. They beat the Blue Jays 8-3. Lose to the Blue Jays 2-1, 9-1, and now getting swept in Pittsburgh 5-4, 2-1, and 2-1.
They've lost 2-1 3 times in the last 5 games.
Man, like we know the strength of this team is their starting pitching.
Clearly,
the strength of this team was supposed to be their offense. There's guys on this team that are making a ton of money. And no one's producing. All right, now Bryce goes on the DL. He's got the wrist injury. It's been bothering him for a while. I don't know if you got the same sense that I did. This isn't when his 10 days. I know they did the retroactive to a certain day. It didn't seem like to me that he was ready to come off when I had the date written down somewhere where he's coming off. But like,
I mean, if we can be honest, he probably should have hit the IL after being hit by the pitch anyway. And I get it. You're trying to fight through it. But all indications were that he wasn't getting a ton better, and it made us feel great, right? He comes back, and the first at bat he smokes a ball off Bowden Francis, and they jump out to like it was a 6-0, I think, after the first inning. But he was 0 for 10 since then. So he clearly wasn't 100% healthy, and I don't think he ever was 100% healthy after getting hit by the pitch. I just think after a day or two, if the swelling didn't go down, if the sensation wasn't as weird as it was, they probably should have activated it to 6-2 and had him not play. But,
right.
So it was only 6-6. So by the time they put him on the IL, which was on Saturday, which was June 7th, it was only retroactive 1 day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Bryce is pretty much going to tell you, unless the doctor's like, hey, your wrist is broken, you can't play. He's pretty much determining what he wants to do.
For sure.
Honestly, man, like this is where I look to Rob Thompson. He has done a great job since taking over for Joe Girardi. This was a lifeless team, kind of how they look right now. This was a lifeless team that clearly had tuned Joe Girardi, the manager, out. I don't believe that they've tuned Rob Thompson out. To me, this is a team that is going through the motions, that probably thought they could go into Pittsburgh this weekend just because they're the Phillies and they're the Pirates, and they'd be able to win 2 of 3. I mean, Tyler, even if you win 1 of 3, we're pissed, but we're not, like they didn't get swept by the Pirates, right?
Sure.
So you get swept, Everybody's got low confidence. Everybody's feeling sorry for themselves. This is where Rob Thompson needs to walk into the clubhouse wearing a thong or something today and lighten the mood of things. You know what I mean? Like, that's what the managers do, is they're able to connect with their players and they're able to get them going. Sometimes that's lineup changes. Sometimes that's switching guys around in the lineup. But there's far too many players right now that aren't doing squat. And it's happening at the wrong time. It is.
Do you know how many teams the Pirates have swept this year?
None.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly
Dude,
correct.
I was at the water park. I don't know if I had this conversation on the air. I was at the water park with my kids a couple weeks ago, and we're watching a Pirate, and my buddy Rick, who was there, we went with a bunch of families. So he's from Pittsburgh. He's, if you can be a Pirate fan, he's a Pirate fan. And we're watching the end of this game against the Reds, and the Pirates are so bad. And they have, like, who's the best player on their team, right? Obviously, you have Skenes, but when you look at their lineup, they don't have a ton of great players.
Yeah, it's O'Neill Cruz.
Yeah, he's your best player. They have an old Andrew McCutchen. Their catcher, Bart, is like, he's their cleanup hitter, right? Yeah. And you literally went into PNC Park and you got swept by that team. Now, they are playing better now. They weren't playing, just like the Phillies. The Phillies were playing great. Now they suck. Welcome to baseball. But damn, man, this is where you need to make moves, and we'll see what they actually have in store for tonight. Tyler, what would you do if you were Rob Thompson? I don't think there's a long-term fix, but the quick fix on this is what for you?
Wow, it's a great question. The immediate, and this is going to sound kind of shallow because, like you said, there's a lot of guys that are making big money and underperforming. But the immediate answer is Brandon Marsh doesn't see the field anymore. I know that that's like picking one guy out, and that's probably me being an admitted Brandon Marsh. I'll say disliker, because I'm not gonna say I hate the guy. I don't have any reason to hate the guy, but as an admitted Brandon Marsh disliker, that would be my first move. Would be he would never see the field anymore. And quite frankly, at this point, I understand it's not a cure-all; it's more of a Band-Aid. But I think at this point, Justin Crawford needs to be a major league player.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like that, and that Kepler is not on the designated for assignment.
Too much money.
Last year with Merrifield, and I don't remember when that was, but I think it was later on in the season, and I could be totally wrong with that.
Yeah, I want to say it was late June or maybe early July they moved him.
Well, he was cooked, and you knew it. I don't think Kepler's cooked. He just isn't very good. Like physically, I think Whit Merrifield was just done.
July 12th.
Okay, July 12th. So yeah, so we're like a month outside. I don't think that, to me, you got to figure out a way to get Kepler to get Kepler going. And that's what I'm talking about, Rob Thompson. Hey, you know what? Bat him second. Switch this freaking lineup around. But move Kepler up in the lineup. You signed him because you love his bat. You got to get his bat going. I mean, he's worse than Marsh. That's the problem. Literally, if you're putting him in because he's not hitting, Marsh is actually being better than Kepler right now a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an offensive problem at two-thirds of your outfield right now. I mean, Kepler had a nice late April, early May, but has struggled elsewhere, pretty much elsewhere. Your center field position, you're not getting anything offensively. I think at the last 3 or 4 weeks, you're not getting much from your second baseman in terms of offensive productivity. And we've raved about Bryson Stott when he was performing, and rightfully so. I think from your catcher position, you're not getting a lot offensively. You have a lot of holes right now offensively, and it is an ebbs and flows part of the season. But I think in some of those positions that we just mentioned, there is no quick fix. Like when Alec Boehm was struggling, you looked at the expected numbers and his exit velocity and things like that, and you're like, all right, this dude's hitting the ball hard. I think he'll bounce back. And he did for a while. Bryce Harper, same thing. Bryce Harper was struggling, but we go, okay, it's Bryce Harper. Like, he's going to get out of this. He's hitting the ball hard. And then May, he was great. He hit 308 over the month of May. So it's not like, it was an ebbs and flows portion of the season. When you look at left field, when you look at center field, when you look at the catcher position, like, you're getting nothing offensively from a third of your lineup on a nightly basis. And that to me is the concern. And you're right, because I am the most measured, it's a 162 game season guy there is. But this weekend really frustrated me, because this weekend you faced an offense that can't score, that does not produce runs. You score 3 in either Saturday or Sunday. I'm not asking for 8. You get 3. you win those games.
JT Realmuto now batting 223. His on base percentage is under 300.
Yep.
Everybody's talking about extending. Oh, well, we'll just extend him for 2 or 3 years. Yeah? Is that what we're doing? I mean,
I don't know if you have any other option.
Is there an option for him not to suck at the plate as much as he does right now?
Fair point.
Dude, like, he's special. Yes, defensively he's great. But the difference is, because Marshawn looks like he's pretty good defensively, the difference is he's supposed to give you, well, I'm not talking about a Mike Piazza on steroids type stuff. 270 with 15 home runs would be nice, JT. An on-base percentage at 292 right now. I mean, Jesus Christ, JT.
I will say, offensively, the catcher position across baseball stinks right now. Like, there's 3 or 4 guys who are hitting. Like, Cal Rowley's off the charts. He's having like a legitimate MVP caliber type of season. Everybody else, there's a couple of good, Will Smith having a good year. A couple of other guys who are having decent offensive performances. But, like, this is a bad offensive catcher season right now. Like, to the point where I think if you were to ask, like, who's top 5 offensively, Logan O'Hoppe makes the list. And he's hitting 240.
Yeah, he's got power. I don't know how he is in calling games as well, but anyway, so we'll come back, some more Philly stuff, weekend recap. Look at the Pacers in the NBA Finals. A lot more still ahead. Philly with John Marks, PHLY. Back after this. All right, listen, GLAT hair restoration. Listen, I had the hat on today, but I had my mom's surprise 70th birthday party yesterday. I'll be posting pictures on the Instagram. I'm trying to become a real influencer. So please follow me on Instagram at John Marks Media. But yeah, like yesterday I had the hair. It was an A+ hair day for me. Some days you just get those days sometimes. Other days, but that's because of GLAT hair, not because of my hair. That's because of GLAT hair restoration. It's not just about restoration. It's about innovation. Oh, that's right. I did a podcast at a neighbor's graduation party. And one of the gentlemen came up and said, "Hey, I went to GLAT because of you." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, I also my wife went to GLAT for you. She got breast implants." So I'm like, "You know what? I've done my job." If GLAT hair restoration, because he didn't have hair restoration. He had the TED treatment, which is something that I get yearly. And he's like, "Oh, it's great." He's noticed the difference. So hair restoration, if you're losing your hair, if you're shedding or you're thinning, that's great. Well, it's not great, but GLAT hair restoration can slow it down. Like if you have your hair right now, you don't like where your hairline's going, but if you said, "Hey, if I could stop it right now," perfectly great with that. GLAT hair restoration. GLATHairMM.com is the website. Or you can call or text them. Text them right now. Say, "I'm listening to Johnny Marks right now, watching Johnny Marks talk about you guys." 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000. GLATHairMM.com. All right, Ace is the place for something you need fixed, right? All right, so you know how like time goes by like very quickly. What was a month ago feels like it was last week, or something that happened. You're like, "Oh, it's probably about a month or so ago." No, that was actually 6 months ago. That's what happens with me when I need things fixed or something needs to be done around the house. That's why you need Ace Hardware Home Services. So you can get duct tape and you can duct tape a problem, or you can get it fixed, right? So time to get it fixed. How about this for the beginning of the summer? So if your HVAC hasn't been serviced yet, and I'm sure your AC's been on at least a little bit, you hold off as long as you can, right? It's so important for seasonal maintenance. Ace Hardware Home Services is there for you. All right. The power of the Ace brand, and they are there for you, ready to get you going on your next job. Experience local plumbers and techs to handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installation and upgrades. Free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that best suits you and your budget. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com. acehardwarehomeservices.com. Hoo-ah! All right, we're back. Philly. Yes, we're in the home studio again. Tyler, Vince. Now I see he didn't contact you until last night, but on Friday we had a call. Vince Pellegrini, our operations manager here at PHLY. We chatted about a couple different things, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, exciting mics. We got a ton going on or whatever. I'm like, bro, like I'm comfortable in my own studio. The backdrop looks pretty good. Like if like I'll be here for next week or however long you want to. It's probably easier on me anyway. So
yeah,
we're back
I
in the
got
home studio.
what did we get put in a group chat at 9:45 last night? I was getting ready for bed. I'm like, oh man, we haven't been back in studio in like 3 weeks. I was getting ready to go to bed to get up early, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we have some extra time now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, not going to argue, but yes. So we're back in home studio for this week. Couple more things on the Phillies, and then some other stuff. So Justin Crawford down in AAA. Tyler talked about this before. It's like, all right, like at what point are you making a move? I get it. He's left-handed hitting. They have a glog of left-handed hitters. It'd be nice if he was right-handed. Otto Kemp now, he's up in the bigs. He's a right-handed hitter. But like, at what point do you just say, hey, this kid's crushing pitching in AAA? When I say crushing, I have tongue in cheek because he doesn't have like Kemp was a home run hitter this year. He's got more pop, but Crawford's just a great all-around player. Good defense, great speed, contact hitter, will get you doubles, a little bit more pop. But he pulled a hamstring a couple games ago. Tyler, so he's missed, I believe, 3 straight. He missed the entire series. Yeah. So unfortunately, like I'd be curious to see if he didn't tweak that hamstring and if he was still hitting well over the weekend. I think he's up. And I just don't know who's going down at this point.
Well, that's the problem. I think I use the term like a logjam positionally this weekend, and I don't necessarily mean it's because they don't have anywhere to play these guys. I think it's because they're trying to figure out how to maneuver their 26 in the easiest way possible. They've been doing it with the front end of their bullpen for the last 3 weeks, right? You've seen Seth Johnson up and down, Alan Rangel up and down, Max Lazar up and down. So like when you have flexibility like that, it becomes fairly easy. When you're worried about how you make like what impacts your 26 and what impacts your 40, that's when it becomes a little bit more of a difficult conversation. The reality is they need productivity from the offensive from the outfield position offensively, and they're just not getting it. I don't necessarily know in terms of like progression, in terms of like maturation. I don't know if Justin Crawford is 100% ready to be an everyday major league center fielder just yet. I just don't know the answer to that question. But I do know this. If they were performing, if Kepler was playing well, if Marsh was playing well, if Rojas was playing well, if anybody had grabbed the center field reins and taken control of it, we would have been able to, okay, well, Crawford will come up in time. But right now you're pressing because you're not getting anything offensively from any of those guys. So the immediate thought is, well, who's available in AAA? And when you look at the numbers and you say, yeah, Justin Crawford's hitting 318 or 321 or whatever it is in AAA, what's the harm, right? I get it. If you're going to bring him up, he has to play pretty close to every day. Like he's got to play 4 or 5 times a week. I think it can't be 2 or 3. So if you're going to bring him up, he's got to play. But the question is like, what's the harm at this point? Because offensively, you're not getting anything from the guys you have right now.
Yeah. So I was thinking about the harm thing. The one thing I do worry about is in this lineup, do you really want to put him in this lineup right now without Bryce? Like, I'm not the guy that makes excuses like, well, what do you expect the Phillies to do? They lost Bryce Harper. Like, no, there's guys that are making a lot of money that need to be productive in this lineup, but they're not productive right now. So you really want to bring him up and be like, not that anybody's going to look to him for him to like, save this lineup, but still he's 21, man. But to your point, like, it's bringing him up right now. Even if he struggles, it's not going to ruin his career. I'm not the guy that's like, oh my God, you could kill his confidence if you bring him up right now. Let's see what he's got at this point. Maybe this dude brings a little bit of youth and energy to the team.
I think if you're saying like you don't want to overexpose him or you don't want to make him feel like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, there's an easy fix for that. He hits 9th.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not asking him to come up and hit first. I'm not asking him to come up and hit second. Maybe they do want him to hit second and go, especially against a lefty per se. Maybe they go Turner, him, Bohm, Schwarber until, you know what I mean? Like you theoretically could, but I think the easiest way to go about this is say, hey man, you're hitting 8th, you're hitting 9th, no pressure. Go out and play us good defense. If you get on the base path, let's cause some havoc on the base path. We know you're an excellent base runner. And right. if you're able to put together a 2-hit night or a 3-hit weekend, that's great. Awesome.
All right. So here's the question. All right, let's bring up Justin Crawford. Who goes down?
That's
because you can't send Rojas down because you don't have a right-handed hitting center fielder. So he would almost have to stay up because there's no one. I mean, unless you're not going to put Weston Wilson in center field. Otherwise, Crawford has to be. Then you're always going to have a lefty that's in center field for your team.
Yeah, that's the conversation I was kind of alluding to, because you're right. I don't necessarily know the answer to that question, because the easy choice would be Weston Wilson, but I believe Weston Wilson is out of options. And I do think a team would claim him. Now, granted, people will say, well, he's not playing well right now, which is true. He's not. But I think the Phillies like him for the role that he plays. He's being asked to play more, which he really shouldn't be. He should be your right-handed bat off the bench, and that's kind of exclusively it, where he can play a couple of different positions. So the easy answer would be Weston Wilson, but I don't think they want to make that move. So to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know what the decision would be.
I think it's yet. Because if Kemp comes up and he doesn't hit, he's not going to be the Weston Wilson replacement.
Correct.
If Kemp's bat looks really good, he probably gets designated for assignment if they want to bring Crawford up. If Rojas doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. And right now, like I hate to say this because it's so painful to watch, Dave Dombrowski's done this so many times. Does he have the level of urgency that viewers right now, that listeners to Philly with John Marks have? Like, he knows that it's a long season and it needs to play out. Although it does feel like that they need to do something now. I'm just not sure what they do.
Well, and it's like you and I talked about weeks ago, even when they were playing well, because we're talking about the bullpen and how do you bolster the bullpen even when you're playing well. Too many teams feel like they're in contention still because of the fact that there's 12 playoff teams. And that's just a product of the fact that it's, 12 of 30 teams make the playoffs. And so that's a pretty high percentage of the teams that make the playoffs each and every year. So there are teams that are scattered, between, let's say, 4 or 5 games below to 4 or 5 games above 500 that think they could be contenders. Like Boston is a team that's underperforming, but they're 3 games under 500. They still think they have a good enough team to compete. And offensively, they should feel that way. They have a really good offense. Their pitching staff's just been not very good. They're like the inverse Phillies, where they can slug when they need to, but outside of Garrett Crochet, their starting rotation is not particularly strong. You have 4 teams in the American League Central that are above 500. The Royals are 34 and 32. They're all going to expect to compete. Like, there's a bunch of teams. The same can be said for the NL Central, which I said was a kind of crappy division. They've got 4 teams at 500 or better themselves. So I think there's a lot of teams right now that still think, hey, we got a chance to compete. We're 2 games under or we're 2 games over. Like, we're very squarely still in a wild card conversation. We're not going to move. Maybe we soft sell, if anything, but we're not going to sell on June 9th. So the immediate answers are hard to find. Yeah,
Scott has a great comment. And Futz puts up that Weston Wilson's pathetic dive at the ball in left field should get him DFA'd. And I tend to agree with that. He was 5 feet away. The still shot of the picture, he's going to his left if you didn't see it. And he dove for a ball that he was 5 feet away from. It's an interesting comparison that Stott and Bohm are like a process 76er first round draft pick. And I don't think it's like Noel wasn't a bust, but he was closer to a bust than a productive player with the 76ers. And like Bohm's hitting 270. I'm telling you, you look at his numbers and you're like, well, he's actually playing pretty well. No, he's not. No, I'm sorry. I don't think he sucks, but from a top 5 pick that is supposed to be, he's a corner infielder. So he's playing first now. He was playing third before. You need more productivity from him. Stott's killing him right now. We're not worried about Rojas. We're less worried about what's happening in left field if Stott's batting 280 with 10 home runs, right? Like he's feeble, Stott. And this is a former first-round draft pick. This sucks. Mundo Sosa gives you more pop. He gets exposed the more he plays, but he gives you pop. Hey, you know what, Stotty? Sit down. You can sit tonight, and we're going to put a Mundo Sosa in there. So, God, it's just so frustrating.
And I think that you just brought up the problem that I have with Sosa. I think Sosa is an excellent utility infielder. I would re-sign Edmundo Sosa to an extension, and do it soon because I think he's valuable. I'd give him a little bit more than what arbitration would give him next year. Give him the security of a 2 or 3 year contract and lock him up because I think he's a very good fifth infielder utility guy, can give you some excitement off the bench. I think the more that he plays, we've seen it in the last 2 years, the more that he plays, he gets a little overexposed. His whiff rates go up, his chase rates go up, his K rates go up.
For
sure. So all of those things, like he's perfect in the super utility role. Play a day at second, play a day at third, play a day at short. Like he's a guy who could play 3 times a week or 4 times a week. But if you're starting to say you want him to play 5 or 6 times a week, that's where the overexposure comes in. So you have to there's a balancing act with Sosa that I think if you overexpose him, you're going to end up having a guy who just swings and misses way too much in an everyday lineup.
All right, so let's do this. We're going to come back. We have our BetParx Parlay of the day weekend recap. Oh, yeah. Had a busy weekend. Tyler had a busy weekend as well. I know he had a bunch of birthday parties. It was his wife's birthday. Weekend recap. Picks on the on the NBA Finals and more. Philly with John Marks. Back after we talk about. All right, so listen. Don't blame me. I was not betting baseball when the Fightins were on a winning streak, and I've not been betting them when they've been losing the win. I'm out. I'm not. I'm staying away from them right now. BetParx app. Maybe you feel good about a bounce back. We'll get on the BetParx app right now. You can bet it all. Player performances, pitchers, strikeouts, home runs, RBIs, and more. And you can live bet. So if you're like, I feel like they're going to come back this game, you get great odds on that as well. You have pro hoops. We're in the finals. You have hockey. Right there on the BetParx app. You can do it all. How about futures for the NFL? Huh? Feel good about the Birds winning another championship? Take a look at the odds. Over under on wins. Everything right there on the BetParx app. And same app. Live dealer table games. Blackjack. Roulette. Craps. Poker. Hot online slots. You can even, if you want to smoke cigarettes and play online slots on your phone on the BetParx app, go for it. Go to betparx.com, download the app right now, enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips, and new users get up to $1,000 back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Casino bonus back. That's for the casino games. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play, you play to win, you BetParx gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hoo-ah! All right, Empire. Listen, why is Empire today your best bet for a new floor? Well, it's all they do. If you had a heart problem, would you go to a chiropractor? Maybe you would, but you shouldn't. You should go to a heart doctor, right? Empire today, if you want new flooring, if you're looking for new flooring, get the experts. That's all they do. They live and breathe flooring. And this is the amazing part. The showroom is your room. That's right. They bring the showroom to your home, a free in-home estimate. So you can see what everything looks like in your space with your furniture, with your lighting, with like some houses are a little bit brighter than others. Your floor is going to look different depending on where you are with your lighting, with the color of your walls, right? Empire today. That's why you get them. Free in-home estimate. They take precise measurements. You don't have to worry about anything. They're giving you clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing, so you're getting the best prices. And right now, how about $350 off? That's correct. That's what you get. Go to empiretoday.com/PHLY. Restrictions apply, but $350 off with code PHLY. For full details, go to empiretoday.com/PHLY for all your details. Empire Today. Hoo-ah! All right, we're back. Philly with John Marks. Says it was a horrendous weekend of Phillies baseball. Tyler, I put this in Slack. If you could pull it up right now, I just wanted to end the Phillies conversation on this. And it was, there it is. So it's the Philly Central. They have a check mark, so that means they're very important. But the Philly Central, if you're not with us now, don't be with us in Red October. Oh. Listen, brother, I don't need you to tell me. I don't know who's behind that account or that Twitter. I don't know if it's a 30-year-old, a 19-year-old, an 80-year-old, whatever. But don't tell me how to be a fan. I have enough equity being a Phillies fan, being that I've been a fan, a real legit diehard fan since my inception, since I was a young boy, and I follow them on a daily basis every single year, good or bad. So if I want to be pissed and I want to say they need to make changes, or I want to say that Rob Thompson isn't doing his job, or I want to say that Brandon Marsh sucks and Max Kepler is the worst, and Stott, I don't know if he should be a part of your long-term future, and if they should sign JT Realmuto because he can't hit squat, I'm allowed to say that. You know why? Because I'm a fan and I watch, and I'm allowed to be mad when they get swept by the Pirates and they've lost 9 out of 10 games. So is it an overreaction of this clown looking at every single tweet that is sent or sent to him because you get the idiots? Like, there's an account out there, Drunk Phils fan or Drunk Phillies fan. I don't know which one it is. And it's all-time bad takes on the Phillies, especially after they lose. I think it's supposed to be that. Maybe not. Maybe this is just an outlet for this guy to be a degenerate. But I take it as a parody account. Like, just shut up. Whoever that person is, the Philly Central, just shut up. Let people be fans the way they want to be fans. All right? And I don't know, Tyler, is that your account? Do you have a shadow account? Is that your burner where you're wagging the finger at people saying either you're with us or against us?
You caught me. Listen, I think we talked about it earlier. 162 games is a long season. You have to be measured a little bit. You have to be calculated a little bit because otherwise you're going to go crazy. I think you have a right to be angry after this series and frustrated after the series and the way that the last 3 series really have played out. You've lost 9 of your last 10. And as we said, I think this one to me was the most, like, if I were ranking annoyances in series, this one is the top of the 3 because the Milwaukee one, the Friday night it was a game, like, you lost the game. It was what it was. Saturday, you got obliterated. Sunday was the one that annoyed me because they had a chance to win because Ranger was excellent. Then you go to Toronto, you win game 1, you crush Bowden Francis, you lose game 2 on a walk-off, and that was frustrating enough. Then you lose game 3 the way that you did. This one, to me, felt like it had an opportunity to be the bounce back. You're playing Pittsburgh. I know it's on the road. You've been on the road for a while, but you have an opportunity to have the bounce back because of the fact that this is not a very good Pirates team and they don't score runs. And so I think this series specifically, you have a right to be mad. You have a right to be frustrated. I'm frustrated with the way that this played out because pitching was good enough. Even in the bullpen game, pitching was good enough to win you the game. You had to go to Joe Ross had to start the game, and the bullpen was taxed heading into the game because of the fact that Luzardo did not pitch well in the series finale against Toronto. So you had a bullpen game and you had a chance to win it and you lose 5-4. Then Ranger pitches his butt off on Saturday and you lose 2-1. And then Sanchez pitches his butt off on Sunday.
It was really good, yeah.
You lose 2-1. So that to me, I think this series and the Mets series, not just because they were sweeps, like, it's easy to say they're sweeps, but like, they were the 2 most frustrating this year so far.
Same kind of feeble, no confidence, like, Phillies, like the offense is just, anyway. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, like, if you want to try to divide and, you with us, you're against us. Oh, shut up. Let me be frustrated with the team. All right, it's time for our BetParx Parlay of the day. Tyler?
Yes.
I am going all in on the Phillies tonight. I am pushing my chips in. Well, I'm going all in, but I'm going to take them on the money line. And I believe this game is going to be played. I looked at the forecast this morning, and it seems like it's going to be rainy and damp this morning, and then just going to be cloudy the rest of the day. So they're going to play. There's not rain forecast necessarily today. So I'm going Phillies on the money line, which is minus 134.
All right. Simple. Fair enough.
I mean, you're coming off a 5-0 week. So,
I mean, it was a good week. I'm not going to overeat. Just like baseball, it's a long betting season. But it was a good week. Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable. I'm gonna go to Cleveland tonight, and I'm gonna go to the Cleveland Guardians and the Reds game. Luis L. Ortiz is on the mound for the Guardians. I'm gonna take him to go under 17 and a half outs recorded. Now, he's pitched really, really well recently, but he uses a lot of pitches to get his outs. He's only gotten 18 outs 4 times this year and once in his last 4 starts. So I think it's pretty straightforward with him. If he limits his walks, he's got a chance to go over, but he walks a lot of guys. So in no game this year in which he's walked 3 or more has he reached the 18 out recording to get to the over 17 and a half. And the Reds swing at the first pitch at the 5th fewest rate this year. So they're seeing about 4 pitches per plate appearance. I think they have an opportunity to run his pitch count up today. I'm going to take the under Luis L. Ortiz, 17 and a half outs in the Guardians and Reds game.
Not Luis F. Ortiz?
Nope, not Luis F. Ortiz.
Or Luis Ortiz or Luis Ortiz. There's a number of notable baseball Luis Ortizes, which I guess why you have to throw the L in there.
So he's actually pitched really well this year. Or let me rephrase that. He's pitched really well his last couple of starts. But yes, he is not Luis F. Ortiz, who was once a Phillies pitcher. It is Luis L. Ortiz.
Correct. All right, there you go. That's our BetParx Parlay of the day. Zach Wheeler, by the way, on the mound tonight. So if you're looking for a bounce back game, he's the guy. So he also hasn't been necessarily great. He hasn't been the Zach Wheeler that we typically know. Last couple of starts, I even forget what he did. This run is really starting to. Everything is just mixing into one big crap hole in the last 10 games. It is one of these stretches where if you were busy this weekend, it was a good weekend to be busy. Because I had said this to somebody on Saturday. I'm like, just take the weekend off for the Phillies because I don't think it's going to be great. Were they losing on Saturday? So anyway, weekend recap. On Saturday, I worked a graduation party. My neighbor Greg said, "Hey, son's graduation party. Will you do your show from it?" And I was like, the last thing I want to do is do a podcast from your son's graduation party. I didn't say that to him, but that's the way I felt. And I did it, and it was great. His son's awesome. He was a big listener to me when I was on the radio. And so it was Tyler, despite the pouring down rain and some other things, it ended up working out. There were a lot of people that were familiar with me that listened to the show, and I just busted balls pretty much, and we talked some Phillies and some other stuff. But
so did you have the kid on the show with you?
Yes, he I made him do you know who Mike O'Connor is, Tyler?
The NBA.
Yeah. So Mike O'Connor, I guess he does stuff with Rights to Ricky. He writes for him and does stuff with Spike and Mike Levin. And yeah, he's been doing stuff around the Sixers for a while. So that is actually my neighbor's brother.
Oh, okay.
Right, which I had no idea. So it's like, yeah, he's going to be here. So can he do the show? I'm like, yeah, he can jump on for as long as he wants to. Then he got sick or something. He wasn't feeling well. So like, oh, not feeling well, huh? All right, I'm not feeling well either. So then we were going to just have him on but then like we had technical problems and everything else. So I made Jack O'Connor. I'm like, dude, you're doing the show with me. It was a surprise, by the way. He didn't know this was going
awesome.
down. Yeah. So he did like the first 15 minutes of the show with me.
How'd he do?
Oh, I mean, he's not a communications major. I don't think he's going to be getting into the world of podcasting or anything like that. No, but he's good. He's a huge Philadelphia sports fan, so he has good takes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he knows his stuff. He's not
nice.
He had good takes. I was more interested. So he's going to college in Tampa, University of Tampa, and he's a golfer.
Okay.
So I told him, like, dude, you're going to college, and I'm like, you're single. You don't have a high school girlfriend. I'm like, oh yeah. Go to school in Tampa. You're gonna have fun being a golfer. Yeah.
Just be around Clearwater Beach every weekend. I wouldn't go to class. Like I went to Penn State not just because it was fairly local and I ended up getting a decent education, but like it's in the middle of the mountains. There's nothing to do outside of the party culture and things
outside
like
of the
that.
vacuum.
Like, right. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going anywhere. Like if I went to Florida Gulf Coast or, the Tampa University or whatever, like, I don't know if I would have I might have gotten kicked out. Not because I was a bad student or anything. Like I did well in school, but like, if you told me, hey, you could go to class or you could go to the beach, like you probably know where you're going to find me.
So I went to school in Hawaii for 2 years.
Yeah, I would have crumbled.
It was easily the best I've done in school. Like not even close. Made
Really?
the dean's list. Yeah, I had over a 3.5 my entire time there. I certainly didn't do that at Temple. Well, at Temple I was also working full time because I was
Sure.
living on my own and whatever. But yeah, it was. So you know what you do, Tyler? You go to the beach after you have class.
It's fair.
Like you see, I mean, to me there'd be more distractions going to a school like Penn State and going in a fraternity. I mean, I don't know enough about down at Tampa and like what it is down there. But to your point, when there's a lot more to do, there's a lot more to do.
Yeah, and like Futz brings, like I'm not like a party guy. I wasn't really even a huge party guy in college. Like I liked going to parties, but I wasn't like frat bro Tyler, right?
Right.
But like
Right.
I just think if the beach becomes an option,
That's an
I think
option.
I
Yeah.
think the beach is going to be the option.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I like where my college was compared to so I lived in Waikiki for most of the time. So it was a bus one way for the school, and it was like a 10-minute walk to the beach I like to go to the other way. And like, I was also an adult. I wasn't an 18-year-old kid on my own for the first time. I was in my mid to late 20s. So I was more interested in meeting women than I was, partying or anything like that. So it was a lot of fun. All right. So you had a lot going on this weekend as well, Tyler. Your wife's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had it was a jam-packed weekend. Wedding on Friday, a first birthday on Saturday, and then my wife's birthday this weekend as well. So we had a ton. And by the time we got to Sunday, I asked her, I was like, "Do you want to do, like, what do you want to do? Like, you tell me. Do you want to go out to brunch? Do you want to do you tell me?" She's like, "Why don't we just hang out with our friends and like we'll order pizza and have some drinks?" And I was like, "Yep." We're all partied out. We're old. We're in our 30s now. We're old. We're cooked.
You can't do Friday night wedding, Saturday birthday party, and then Sunday. And it's also a Sunday too. Even if you guys weren't, it's tough to everybody's work the next day. It's tough unless you're day drinking and you had nothing else going on.
Yeah, and you're doing it. We're doing it with a 7-month-old on top of it.
Yes.
So it was more kind of let's get a couple people together. We'll hang out. We'll have some pizza. So, but it was a good weekend. It was a long weekend though.
Yeah. So my mom's 70th birthday is actually today. So happy birthday, Mom. You're not watching, but happy birthday. She turned 70 today. So yesterday we had planned a surprise birthday party for her. How many surprise birthdays have you been a part of that you organized, if any, that actually were true surprises? Any?
Not really. No, because the last one that I organized was my mom's 60th. And like she knew we were doing something. She just didn't know where and who was going to be there. So like we played it under the guise that it was going to be just me and my brother and her. And that was it. Like we were just going to my brother and I were just taking her out to dinner, and that was going to be it. Reality was obviously we got all of our friends, our family and everything, and we had a nice party and open bar and all that kind of stuff. But like she knew we were doing something. It just wasn't, she just didn't know the scale of which it was.
Right.
So like, I don't think I've ever pulled off a legitimate, oh my gosh, how did this happen type of surprise party.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what yesterday she had no idea. We went and got pictures, like family pictures. We went to this Evansburg State Park. We got pictures. And I was trying to tell my wife, we're going to have too much time. No. This will be, so like, we're supposed to be back here at 1:00. That's when I told everybody, be at my house at 12:30. So you don't ruin it. We'll be back at 1:00. And it's like 12:00 and we got no more pictures to take. And we're like 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from the park. And I'm like, what are we going to do? So we're trying to stall, and it's like, we're not going to be able to stall long enough. So we go to, like, we're talking about what we're going to have for lunch. It's like, well, let's order from here. Let's order from there. They're like, well, let's go to Rita's and get water ice first. It's like, yeah, the kids really want water ice. So she's like, oh, okay. So now we're sitting outside of a Rita's, and I'm like texting. I'm like, is everybody there yet? Are you in position?
Show up.
Hurry up. So, and that ended up working out. She walked in, had no idea. I think she was even like on her phone, like doing something on her phone when she walked in the door.
Oh, even better.
It had no idea.
Her head's not even up to see people.
And then, yeah, was totally surprised. So she was very, very happy. It was, awesome. It worked out. It worked out great. So, so it's the first one, because my wife's 30th birthday, I tried to do a surprise party for her. She got really, really sick.
Oh.
And I didn't know. She knew that like we were doing something, but she's like, what do I do? Like, do I?
You
So
cancel it?
I eventually said to her, I'm like, listen, I'm like, we're having a party for you. Like, everybody's already like made plans and they're coming or whatever. I'm like, we're having a party for you. Like, so you got to act surprised because she was telling me to cancel it. And I was like, all right, what should I do? And I'm asking people and they're like, oh, well, it's just, so I just told them like, listen, act surprised.
Right.
And in hindsight, I don't even know what I should have done, but I was like, act surprised. And she did, but I think everybody kind of knew that she knew about it. But anyway, there you go. All right, real fast on the finals. What do you think, man? Indiana got any chance?
Well, I mean, I think Oklahoma City bounced back like we expected them to. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to me, is the best player in the final. Like Tyrese Halliburton, we've talked about, he's been unbelievable. But if you said who's the best player in the finals, I think it's SGA. And what do you have, 34, 35 points last night? Like, I think that this is kind of the direction that the finals go in. Do I say they have a chance? Yeah, sure. I think they have a chance, especially with the fact that they took 1 of 2 in the first 2. I said 5 initially. I think it maybe extends an extra game. I think maybe we're talking like looking more 6 now. But yeah, I certainly think Indiana has a chance. I just think Oklahoma City's just they're gonna prove that they're a better team.
I would still be very surprised if OKC didn't win. But game 3, so you get Wednesday night. So awesome. You wait 3 nights for our game 3. 3 nights.
We got to talk about that real quick. Why in the world are we not only just waiting for 3 nights, but this weekend, why was the game 2 not played on Saturday? Why did you play on Sunday night? Saturday, your viewership would have gone up on. I don't understand why they made.
I don't know this. Sunday night typically is a better TV night ratings wise than Saturday. I do know that. I don't. As far as the game 3, I don't know if this is part of the CBA where they've agreed once they go from OKC to Indiana, there has to be a certain number of days because there has to be media and things like that. It's I don't know if they're required by the players, but the NBA probably looks at it and says, okay, Monday they're recovering from the game the night before, and then Tuesday is the big media day before the game is on Wednesday. But the problem is no one looks at the NBA finals as like, oh, Tuesday, let's hear what the players have to say. Like there's not that type of need for it. But it's too long to wait. I don't want to wait till Wednesday for game 3. I mean, it's bad enough. I saw, and by the way, if you're watching on TV, slide on over to allphly.com because we're officially in overtime. I know there was like the ratings have been really, really low, like as low as they've pretty much ever been. Which
we kind of expected that with these 2 teams.
Yeah, so here's how I feel about that because there's a lot of people that are ready to jump and crap on the NBA because look how bad the ratings are. First of all, I don't care about ratings. I would much rather watch this series than watch LeBron and the Lakers play. I don't even know. Yeah. But seriously, now the NBA would love that series because
they'd kill for Lakers Celtics. Yeah,
right. Because the ratings would be great. I'm very happy to watch this series. I'm very, very happy to watch this series. So I'm not going to crap on the NBA because they got unlucky with a couple of series that a couple of teams that aren't in major markets. And Fit Dad brings up a great point. Like they are like these are 2 similar teams that doesn't have the star power. You know, SGA is a star. Does somebody down the street from me that's a Sixers fan that casually watches the NBA does even know who he is outside of knowing the name? Right? Like how many people are watching out of town NBA games? I mean, I don't watch a ton of NBA outside of the 76ers.
Well, so 2 points there. The first one on the scheduling, I was sitting talking with my wife about the finals and she looked at me and went, wait, the NBA is still playing? Because the playoffs have drug on now for a month and a half. I mean, it's a long stretch to get to the NBA finals. And for somebody who doesn't watch a lot of NBA, like my wife doesn't, you know, it is kind of like, whoa, why didn't the season end like a month and a half ago? And the answer is, yeah, the draft is next week or 2 weeks from now. And so it is like a weird scheduling dynamic. And then to your point about the matchups, like I think about from a baseball perspective. Now, baseball is a little bit different because it is genuinely like the hottest teams get in and that's it. But I think about like 2023, Texas, Arizona. Now, granted, coming off the heels of a Phillies collapse, if we were Tigers fans or Astros fans, you'd be like, well, that's a fun series. It's something different. I think about 2019 when the Nats went on the run that they did. Like,
yeah,
the Nationals I don't think are a national draw. No pun intended. But like, it was a good Nationals team that came together at the right time and played really well down the stretch. Sometimes these series are fun to watch where you get unexpected Indiana Pacers type of teams that make the run, and they are fun to watch. I get it from a ratings perspective, but if you are a true fan of the sport, this should be a fun one for you.
Yeah. The current NBA, how it's set up, isn't built for the old style of let me get 3 veteran players and 3 star players. I mean, I hate to use the Suns as an example, but the teams that try to buy championships or chances to win a championship really hasn't worked out well recently. With the Nets, how they put their big 3 together, that was a miserable failure. The Suns, how they've tried to put their 3 together, they're done. The Suns are cooked. They're done.
If you put a team together in NBA 2K that was Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, it would win multiple championships in video game simulation. It doesn't work that way in real life sometimes. You know, they're just not the team that they expected them to be. And when you've invested, I don't know, $150 million a year into those 3 players, if not more, it becomes really hard to build the rest of your roster. And I think the Suns are learning that the hard way, that their roster they're going to have to make a decision at some point soon. Did they just extend Devin Booker, or is that was in the conversation, I think?
Did you see the number? Did you see the
isn't it like $150 million for 2 years?
2 years, 150 extension.
Yeah. So you're talking about now $75 million for him.
Like, come on, man. Come on.
Like, you're really hamstringing the rest of your roster if it doesn't work the way that if it works, then you're going to win titles. There's no doubt about it. But
he's a good player, man. There's outside of LeBron, because of how big he is, there's no player maybe yes. So if he's worth 150, and that's only because of his service time and all the other factors that you need to make that money. What's SGA going to be worth? $100 million a year when he gets there? I mean, it's unbelievable.
We'll get there soon. We're going to get to a point soon where a player makes $100 million a season. I mean, we're talking about that's like Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi.
Yeah, soccer stuff. Yep.
Like and that's with endorsements and club ownership and all the crap that goes along with it, because you've got oil tycoons that own teams and can spend $7 bazillion because they don't care. But like, we are getting to a point where I think an NBA player in the next decade probably makes $100 million a season.
I mean, Booker's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. I'd love that Booker on my team. But they missed the playoffs, for God's sakes. I don't know. Whatever. It's it's nuts. Well, here's the good news. The Sixers are built the old style that doesn't work. So your team, your town, Joel Embiid, Paul George. At least you have Tyrese Maxey going forward. All right, we're back tomorrow. Tyler, you have a live Philly show today?
Yep, Bob Cooney at 1:30. We'll talk about whatever that was. I know you and I just spent a lot of time talking about it, but we'll do it again. It was a disaster, but we'll talk to Bob at 1:30, and we'll be live at 1 o'clock.
All right, they get the bounce back tonight with Zach Wheeler. Let's do it. We're back tomorrow live at 8 a.m. Shout out to everybody watching. Appreciate you. Subscribe to PHLY on YouTube. If you're not watching the show live, as many of you aren't, just make sure you put a comment. What do you think about what's going on with the Phillies right now? What would you do with the lineup? It's a good way for you to get involved in the discussion of the show. And remember, audio podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. If you miss a show, you don't have to miss a show. You can listen to it. Search Philly with John Marks wherever you find your podcast. Remember to rate and review. Appreciate it. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.
We all silly like the mayor.